So I went camping in the Virgin Valley, Nevada, and I went to the Royal Peacock Opal Mine, and I went hunting for precious fire opals. And I was digging them out of the dirt, and I was like, this is amazing. And I was filthy, I was soaking wet, I was freezing cold, all of the things. And I was still like, I could do this forever. And so I went home and I Googled how to look for rocks for a living. I didn't even know what it was called. And it said geology. And I was like, this is what I need to go do. This is the next step. I'm gonna do this. And so that's what I did. I planned out, I put in my 2 weeks, and I went straight to school without even thinking about it.
What about fossils and minerals and rocks excites people? Like, why do people light up when they see a beautiful rock?
It's because they're unique. It's one of a kind. Just because you're holding something that might be the exact same as somebody else, they're always going to be very, very different. It's just like people's fingerprints or their eyes. No two are ever going to be the same. And minerals speak to people in many different ways. And whether it's the color or how vibrant they are, or just, the fact that you found that in the ground in the middle of nowhere, that's where people are like, oh my gosh, that one's mine. I found it. That's why people love it.
When you're out in the field and looking for rocks and digging through the dirt, when you find something, I can just see the joy pouring out of you. Why does it trigger that inner joy for you?
Again, I got to dig that up. No one else has done that. I am the first human being, most likely ever, since the rock, formed. And if we're going to talk about like how old rocks are, whether it's 4.5 billion years old or a couple thousand years old, it doesn't matter to me. I'm the first one to get to touch it. I'm the first one to see it. Or maybe it's something elusive where people have gone and said that this is the best of the best, or you can't find it, and you do. And so all of the things all together combined are what just makes me like enthralled and super excited. There's no singular thing other than just I'm putting myself out there on this adventure and on the journey. And I love the hiking and the looking at things and seeing how beautiful everything is around me. But then once I find that little spark that I'm looking for, it just makes the whole world better.
Sometimes it's easier to see, like, hindsight is 20/20 on how like this interest led to school, and then school led to your profession. Can you like explain that journey for you a little bit? Because a lot of people have hobbies or interests when they're young, but then they don't become a professional at that. So I guess, what was your journey and what led you all the way through to becoming a geologist?
I started looking for agates as a kid with my dad on the beach. And I still have that original agate collection. It was something for me that brought me a lot of joy. I never thought about it as something I was going to go into to do for the rest of my life at all. And I was also one of those kids, I'd look at a road cut and go, that is so cool. And I wouldn't wonder about the road cut. I would wonder about the rocks, why they were that color, what they were made out of. And nobody could tell me enough information to satisfy that question. They couldn't tell me how it was made. They couldn't tell me what the process was. And that's what I wanted to know. I didn't want to know it was just red because it was red. I didn't want to know that, it was pink because it was pink or whatever. I wanted to know at the root cause of what it was. But I was working at a horrible job. I was working for a bank. It sucked. I didn't like dressing up and going in there and just trying to handle people's money. I was like, I want to make my own. And I didn't know how exactly to get from point A to B. But I needed a break and a vacation, and I needed to go outside. So I went camping in the Virgin Valley, Nevada, and I went to the Royal Peacock Opal Mine, and I went hunting for precious fire opals. And I was digging them out of the dirt, and I was like, this is amazing. And I was filthy, I was soaking wet, I was freezing cold, all of the things. And I was still like, I could do this forever. And so I went home and I Googled how to look for rocks for a living. I didn't even know what it was called. And it said geology. And I was like, this is what I need to go do. This is the next step. I'm going to do this. And so that's what I did. I planned out, I put in my 2 weeks, and I went straight to school without even thinking about it.
That's so cool. You have something that I think a lot of people are chasing. It's like, what is that thing that ignites me? And then what do I also like know about where I can turn this into a profession? So you have like the passion side of it and the information side of it, and like the schooling aspect.
I would say that I'm extremely determined, and I'm very hard-headed in the respect that if you tell me I can't do it, you better step back and watch out. And I have way more tenacity than most people that I've met. And even when I will slam my face up against just a hard rock door until a little peephole happens, and then I'll get through. So that I've lived my life that way.
When you're a kid, I feel like you're spending a lot of the time in the dirt. At least in my childhood, I was spending a lot of time outdoors in creeks and like building forts. And you're spending time in the dirt and like looking for rocks. So like, or at least I was. So when I'd come across stuff, I would like start adding to my collection and stuff. And those rocks have been in my room, like on my shelves, or
Oh my gosh,
in
that's adorable.
Yeah, or in my parents' like garden growing up. So I feel like, at least for me, and it sounds like for you, there's like an anchor to minerals and rocks to that like childhood joy and like sense of adventure.
Absolutely. If you're a kid and you get to go outside, I mean, my mom, I would grab my canteen, a peanut butter jelly sandwich, and my horse, and I'd run off into the woods, and I would be gone all day. And I would go make mud pies. I'd go skipping across the creek. I'd go flip over rocks. You know, I wasn't always collecting them and taking them home, except for when I went to the beach, because I knew those were special. As a kid, I was a very different child. I had already very high expectations for myself. So there was the garden variety, like cool thing that you'd pick up and bring home shiny. I already knew it wasn't anything. I knew, I was like, nope, this isn't, nah, it's not for me. But when I went and found agates on the beach, I knew they were different. I knew exactly how to spot them, and I used to make my dad so angry. I'd jump in front of him, I'd snatch him right out from underneath of him, and I'd run off. And he's talked about this multiple times. But there is I think, an innate fascination as a kid that you're holding, like, you know, the idol from Indiana Jones. You know, that you're holding that thing, only though this is tangible to you. You've got it. And so when you get more of them, you're like, oh my gosh, and you're like so excited about it. And so for each kid, whether it's collecting a stack of mud pies or agates or random rocks for the garden, it does start as a kid, and it has to foster, I think, there. There are a lot of, I would say, older rock hounds that got into loving geology later on in life, and that's absolutely fine. But from all of them that I've talked to, they're like, yeah, you know, I kind of had a fascination as a kid. I didn't collect them, but I like to look at them. So I think there is that thing of just, it's pretty, it's neat, it's unique, it's different. And so I think it's the mystery too, that people are just drawn to that kind of a thing.
Okay. Would you say your friends and family understand what you do, or is it kind of a mystery to a lot of them?
Oh boy. I would say that my family is like, what? Oh, that's cool. My friends, though, my friends are definitely the people that really love what I do, and they understand me because I've kind of surrounded myself with those friends. Growing up doing so many things, I mean, I used to have like big groups of theater friends, and then that was the thing. And so when I was like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna go be a geologist now, and they're like, fun. And, you know, that was it. And then you kind of will get the people that are within the arts and then the sciences together, and then that's me. But they're very, very, very few of us. But when I can like collaborate with those sort of people and they want to go on adventures with me, oh my gosh, they're all about it. And so they want to go and see what I'm doing, and they're extremely supportive, and they get that my life is different, like very different. I would have to say that it might have been a bigger shock for my mom and dad to like kind of tell them, hey, this is what I'm going to go do. But they've always known I was just a different person in the sense that if there's no path, I will beat one and I will make it my own. And that's how I've driven my entire life. And so it's no like mystery to my friends now. I would say my close group of friends, when I'm like, yeah, okay, like I'm gonna be gone for a week in the woods. If I'm not back, like come get me. Like they get it. Whereas if I would have told people 10 years ago, oh my gosh, are you okay? Like, are you sure? Are you gonna hurt yourself? No, I just want to go camping looking for rocks. Like there's just this realm that most people don't understand. But once you get like I would say your flagship of friends, like they totally get you.
If you had a mission statement for Elley Knows Rocks, what would that be?
Through Elley Knows Rocks, I want people to feel comfortable to ask the questions they were uncomfortable to ask anybody else. Like people always come up to me, I've got a stupid question. And you know, that famous saying, there are no stupid questions. There might be stupid answers. That's a whole different story. But the person asking it truly wants to know something. And whether it's a silly question or, you know, whether it's, you know, what dirt tastes like, I have no idea. It's always unique as far as what they want to learn. And so I want them to feel comfortable asking Elley Knows Rocks, you know, what is this and why? I want them to feel comfortable going onto my channel to broaden their horizons, to step out of their own box and view the world differently. And maybe it is through the earth and science, and they can be comfortable going outside. I want the girls that watch my channel to go, she can do it, I can do it. Believe me, I was bullied like no other by, you know, through kids and adult life. And I believe that if you are, you come out stronger on the other end if you can survive it. And so being like this, I don't know, I wouldn't say like icon for little girls, but kind of that say that they want to be able to do that and follow their dreams, that's amazing. And so if my platform is able to do any of that for people, I guess then I'm winning. I guess that's my really long mission statement. It's definitely not an elevator pitch.
I love that. That's great. Since you said there are no stupid questions, I'm going to take this moment to ask you a very stupid question.
Okay.
I served in the Peace Corps in China in a province called Guizhou. At the time, it was the third poorest province. I don't know about now. But a lot of like farming communities, villages. And I used to love hiking up these local mountains. And nearby where I was living, there's this mountain called Shaogaoshan. I hiked off the beaten path and I found like an old wall with like stones all stacked up. And I saw something that didn't look like a stone to me. And I picked it up, and to me, I'll put it on screen here. To me, it looked like a freaking pterodactyl head or like a fossil of some sort. And I'm sure it's not, but in my heart, it's a pterodactyl head. Can I show you a photo of it and you tell me what you think it is?
Yes, please. Yes, I definitely want to see this. Oh my gosh.
What is that?
Oh, it's a bone.
Isn't that freaking weird? And it was heavy like a stone. That thing was like probably 25 to 50 pounds.
And is it a stone though? Was there a lot of coral in that area?
No.
Do you know? Not at all?
It was like mountain ranges and rivers, far from the ocean.
I would honestly say it looks like a bone. It honestly looks like some weird portion of a pelvic bone that's been broken and then weathered away from like water and sand. It's definitely not pterodactyl, sorry.
Looks like a skull to me. I've actually,
It totally does with the thing and the eye and the yeah.
Totally,
It
yeah, like
definitely
the horn.
does.
So weird.
It's about perspective.
Yeah.
I have no idea, but I would say that it might be some kind of like pelvic bone that might be partially fossilized. I have no clue. I'm so sorry.
So strange. I so desperately wanted to fly back from China with that thing, but I looked it up and there's like laws about traveling with fossils. It was like super illegal, I think.
Oh, shoot.
To like export a fossil.
You couldn't get like an export permit?
Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of places will. I had to get like quite a few of them from Greenland to export what I got.
Oh, wow.
Like I had to get a whole sheet and tell them exactly what it was. And
did they go by line to check everything?
No, you just hand them a paper and they just...
Really?
Yeah, they didn't really care. I also had 3-4 giant suitcases that were all like nearly overweighted. Yeah. And I don't think they really cared.
So cool.
It was a bunch of rocks.
Thanks for entertaining me for a minute. Like,
you are so welcome.
That's been a burning question for like 10 years for me. I've never had a straight answer.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I would say definitely not pterodactyl. Sorry.
Damn it.
Sorry.
What are the differences between a rock and a mineral?
Oh, I love that question. A mineral is made up of one or more elements and has a very, very specific crystalline structure. And a rock is made up of two or more minerals. And so you will never have a rock that is just a single mineral. A lot of people love to confuse the two. Look at this rock I found. Well, actually, you're looking at a mineral. Or, look at this mineral I found. You're actually looking at a rock. So they're very confusing. But at least for, when you're a noob and looking for stuff. But minerals are the pretty shiny, like gem quality, the things that everybody searches for. Whereas the rocks are most of what we've been looking at today. All these big features are all the rocks. They have minerals and elements in them. And the only way that a mineral is a single element is, it's not the norm, it's the exception. But you have copper and gold and silver and magnesium, manganese, that kind of thing. Those are all elements, they're also minerals. But then you have things like ice, we were talking about earlier, which is H2O. Water's not a mineral, but ice is indeed a mineral. That kind of thing. Or you have agate, which is, silicon oxide. And so that's the short answer. Sorry for the thing. I can actually talk a really long time about that. I don't know why. That's pathetic.
Oh, good. You're doing great. Not bad. It's admirable for me. What are some of the first few things you tell people, like the first few steps they can take to get out there and start rock hounding or find minerals?
One of the first things I'll tell people if they're really interested in going out and collecting rocks is go into your backyard and see what you can find back there. The next place, if you're by any kind of a mountain or a hill or just a desert, go outside of where everybody lives and just put your nose on the ground. Look around and start tuning your eyes to different rocks on the ground. See the things that jump out to you. Textures, colors, how shiny they are. That kind of a thing. Just get out there and get your hands dirty. See if you like getting your hands dirty. And then start to move past that, and with all of those little sorts of small things that you don't think that you're learning by looking at those first sets of rocks help you immensely once you actually go look for something you really want to find. So that's the first thing I tell people. Go see if you like it first.
Okay.
Go get your hands wet. Or I guess your
Before
feet wet.
going to school and chasing the profession, yeah.
Yeah, and then, if it's something that you really love, jump into it. Go do it. Don't overreach your expectations of what you think that you're going to be once you get into it. I would say like every other field, it's extremely competitive. You don't just walk onto a mine site and get a job. You don't, you can't just go be an independent consultant without years of experience to back that up so that you have the knowledge, so that you don't get in trouble, so you don't get somebody hurt, and so that you're out there and you're actually providing somebody with useful information instead of miseducating them. Because that is also a downfall of now the world is if you have a kernel of truth or knowledge, it's dangerous because you don't know enough about it in order to back it up. Right. So that can also be a little scary. So some of the things that I really love about, I guess, educating a YouTube audience, people are now calling it YouTube University, and they can get on there and they can learn anything. And you have been able to for years, but being able to break things down and explain it to people in a way that they've never heard it or that they've wanted to hear it, or they're like, oh, wow. Like some of the comments, I've always wanted to learn about geology, but it's always been such a big topic. I've always been scared to do this, or I'm too old to do this, or I'm blah, blah, blah. And for starters, the first thing I tell people is you're never too old to do anything. You can do it. If you want to, go for it. But then there's that younger generation that look up to you, like little kids are like, oh my gosh, I love rocks and it's great. And so you become like a rock queen. It's like, no. It's like, I'm just a person, but you can do the same thing. You break it down in like this simple sense so that anyone can understand it. And then if people already like picking up rocks or they wanted to know about some random geology, like, the coast or wherever, or, the Grand Canyon, they can get on there and they can find the information and it's ready, available to them. And I like being a part of that community that is allowing that outreach, I guess.
One thing that really stands out to me with your YouTube channel is when you bring the rocks and minerals home and you take out your tile saw and you're like, your fingers are getting so close to that thing, like I'm on edge, like my whole body's tense. And then when you do that reveal, it's so amazing. Like you never know what you're gonna get until you actually open up that. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Like how you got into that, and like, have you ever had any mishaps?
So I love bringing home rocks and cutting them open. I think that it is absolutely fascinating. And yes, the reveal is awesome because I try to make it so that I'm seeing it the first time the audience is seeing it too, so that my reaction's also genuine. But I knew that I wouldn't be able to get like a lapidary saw, so I was like, I'm gonna get a tile saw. They're cheaper. They're more versatile for me. Plus the blades aren't as expensive, so that I can just beat them up and that kind of thing, you know? And so I wanted to be able to cut them open instead of having someone else do it or rely on someone else. Even though most of those saws are way better than I can do, I still get to do it at home. I have had mishaps in the sense where like the blade can't actually cut you at all. It's more like sandpaper. It's an abrasion. Really? So it's actually sanding through the rock. It's not actually cutting the rock like sandpaper. And so I stick my thumbs on the blade all the time to show people that you can do this. It won't hurt you. Wow. And there are pinch points though. Like if you were to get your hand stuck in between like the slot, the groove and the blade and you go down, that's the danger of a tile saw. It doesn't happen like that often, but it can happen. And then the other thing that's kind of scary is if you chip out a blade, which I actually had happen a few days ago and I have a picture of it. I've never chipped a blade before. And I don't know exactly what I did. My husband thinks I didn't have the blade all the way down far enough into the groove and my rock kind of jammed a little bit, but I pulled it back and I was still cutting rocks. But I went through and as I pushed my thumb up against it, I was like, whoa, that's not supposed to feel that way. And then it happened on my index finger as well. I was like, okay, I'm stopping the saw. And I did, and there was a chunk this long and about that deep missing. And I was like, that could have sliced my finger off, or at least grabbed it and like, you know, stuffed it up into a pinch point. But otherwise, I've never had any mishaps with the saw.
Okay. So my tension is justified then, like if there's a chip on the blade.
Oh
that
yeah,
can get you. Okay.
that can catch you. I mean, again, though, it's not like a wood saw. You can't like cut yourself like that. Okay. There's not that danger. You could sand your finger to death, and it could cut through your fingernails because they're made of keratin. But otherwise, no, they're really safe actually. Okay. I mean, we let. I can't say we let little kids use them, but we let younger people use them. Okay. And give them education on it so they don't hurt themselves, but they're safe.
What is the single greatest reveal that you've ever had in cutting open a rock?
So when I went looking for the Luna Blue lace agates, they are definitely, when I opened some of those up for what they look like on the inside, I was just shocked. Just absolutely, I was blown away and shocked. And then recently I opened up a piece of picture jasper from my favorite area down in Parker. And the colors inside of it and the like little dendrites that create these trees and it's all the way through this little teeny tiny one. I was like, this is wild. And it was so cool. But like I love my reveals. Like I love a good agate reveal because I love the bands. And it's just something that takes me back to being a kid. And all of like those little things. So, my gosh, I don't think that there really is like a one where I was like, that's it, that's the one. Like, I mean, asking a geologist like for their favorite rock, oh no, don't do that. It is at any given time, it's any one of the 50,000 that you see on my mantle, depending on my mood. And literally, I've got cases of this stuff and they are stuffed full of rocks, and each one of them holds a place in my heart because I found it, so it might be my favorite that day.
Because your YouTube channel has grown so tremendously at this point, do you find that the need to produce content is guiding your next adventure, or is it, I'm Elley, I love geology, I love rocks, I'm going to go to this place and I'm also capturing content?
Both. Okay, so I love it that my channel has grown. I would say not as quickly as I want it to. but I appreciate your enthusiasm about it, believe me. And I feel that I do need to create content to keep it relevant. Because if you're not creating it, someone else is, so someone else is going to go watch what they're doing. I get that. And that's the nature of the beast. But for me, like going to look for rocks and stuff, a lot of it is content driven. I know that I want to go and find, XYZ out in these 2 states. And so I will make a plan to go and find that. However, like there are some times when stuff falls into my lap where I was like, this is awesome. I'm going and I get to make a video. Let's do it. And then I will, drag my husband along and say, hey, so do you want to go in the middle of the desert with me so that maybe I don't get kidnapped by people that might want to collaborate with me and go look for weird rocks down a canyon that we could hurt ourselves on? Please? And so he'll go and he will fly me out to these places, make sure that I don't get murdered, and then I come back with really cool rocks. And so for me, it's a lot of fun in both regards. I get to fulfill looking for things I want to find. I get to make content. And then if I find really good stuff off of that, then I get to sell those rocks or minerals that I find also, which just kind of helps perpetuate the whole wheel.
That's so cool. Have you ever gone on a rock hounding adventure with the purpose of making a YouTube video and then find like, oh my God, actually, I really hate this today and I don't want to make this video, but I have to please my audience?
Yes, more so than people realize. Like I will have to go and, make content, go, okay, I'm going to go here. I'm going to have this whole plan laid out and I'm going to try to make it something that people are going to want to watch. Maybe my head's not in it because like I hurt myself or I'm not feeling well or I'm, a lot of things line up. My audience is never going to know. And I guess I pride myself on that because you could send me into the freezing cold water and I will keep a straight lace face on. I might have goosebumps, I might whatever. No one's going to know I'm freezing cold until that camera's off. Mm-hmm. And I'm tough like that because you have to grow a tough skin being on the internet. Mm-hmm. But I think that there comes like a point where if you don't want to go do something for whatever reason and your gut's just saying, don't go do it, there is probably a big reason not to. And so when that hard line happens, I definitely listen to that. And when I haven't, there's a lot I could say about it, but I'm not going to. And that is just the nature of the beast and its defeat.
Yeah. If YouTube, for whatever reason, got shut down tomorrow, like TikTok, would you still go out there and rock hound as much as you do?
I'd make my own damn TV show. Yes, I would, definitely. Because there's always a need for rocks and minerals. I mean, Tucson Gem and Mineral Show didn't become the largest gem and mineral show in the world for people sitting around not finding rocks. It was because somebody went out and dug something up, brought it to a table, cleaned it up, and sold it. People loved it and wanted to decorate their homes with it or make beautiful jewelry. That's never going to go away. At least not in my lifetime or the next, 4 or 5 generations. That's always going to be a thing. Plus, it's getting you back to the earth. People say that the earth is healing. If you can put your hands in it, something in it is helping you. And so, yeah, no matter what, if YouTube did shut down, I'd make my own TV show and I would just keep doing it.
So cool. Is that in the back of your mind, is that like a goal you'd like to achieve one day?
Oh, having my own TV show?
Have your own TV show, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, I will. I don't even have a question. It's going to happen. So I'm not sure when. I would say I feel sooner than later.
Say you're doing YouTube 10 years from now, if you want to. What does that future look like for you? Like, are you doing that full time? Are you going on adventures every weekend? Like, describe that Elley Knows Rocks, like 10 million subscriber YouTube channel.
Oh my gosh, I would say that I would have to be making several videos a week or several trips a week to make enough content in order to suffice that. But I definitely see for the future, like having somebody with me all the time to capture me and taking a lot of the stress off of me making sure that I capture 4 or 5 different angles of myself doing the exact same thing 4 times. With that, not only do you get to do things faster, but you get to have somebody else's creative eye to help you make a better video. Because I do want to continue to create content. I do see myself as one of these huge channels, but coming from a science and geology base, I know that everybody flips out over health and beauty, wellness, all the makeup channels that get all these millions of viewers. Sure, because vanity will always produce viewers no matter what. But science is something that nobody can argue with. Well, you can. I can debate it all day with different people. However, it's science. It's theorized. There are things that are there. They're rocks and minerals. It's the earth. And I think that there's a part of people that always want to be educated in that realm. And so I'm going to go and give them more content. And I'm going to have somebody there that's going to film it. Plus, getting to that upper echelon of subscribers is you need help, like with the editing. I mean, I already do now, and I'm at my area of almost 60,000, and I need somebody behind me. It is, and from anybody that's created content, it takes me an hour usually to edit a short video. If there's a lot of parts, it takes me 48 hours, sometimes longer, to edit one of my, 25 to 30 minute videos. Wow. Because there's a lot that goes into it. On top of that, I have to make sure that I am correct. I go over everything to fact check myself, because I'm not going to give somebody the wrong information. I hate that. Especially, and I love calling people out going, nope, that's wrong. And not that I'm making fun of them. In my own little mind, I'm going, I wonder if they noticed this. This is incorrect. But I'm not going to put it in a comment or be rude. But I'm like, I saw that. Which is like seeing a bad part in a movie where you're like, her earring is changed. It was a completely different earring just a minute ago, 2 seconds ago in the last clip. I love finding the inaccuracies in film. And so I'm constantly looking for that in mine, unless I did on purpose as an Easter egg for someone to find.
Nice. I love it. Now I'm going to keep an eye out for it.
I do. I have Easter eggs in my videos, and I've been putting more and more in to my videos. I have yet for people to start to find them. And it's just one of those things where people that look close will start to see things. I love my 3D printer, and I 3D print cats, little ones, very small. And I will go put them in different places throughout videos. And, hopefully if people are watching this and you end up seeing one, there you go. And you know to look for them. But I place them in different areas. They're different colors, different sizes and whatnot. And they're, never going to be like too many in one video, but there's some in there, and people haven't spotted it yet. So
really? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel bad for like letting out the secret now.
Oh no,
when
no,
we
no.
hit publish on this.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
It'll be okay. They're just. I've put other things in there too, like my Elley Knows Rocks stickers. I've put in there little hints about like inappropriate rocks, because that's one of my big things. And what else? I did one a few weeks ago. I don't remember what it was. If it comes to me, I'll bring it back up. But I try to do that so that the audience does have something to gather towards, to at least go, I noticed this.
Got it.
I was wearing 2 different earrings at one point in time, just for a slight second, and then just put the other one back in.
Did anyone catch it?
No one caught it. I mean, granted, my hair was kind of over it, and they were a similar-ish color, but they were different. So I mean, I'm just saying, they're small.
I got some videos to rewatch now. What is like the best case scenario for you when you hit publish? Do you want a video to go viral? Do you want to like inspire people and they're like leaving comments? Like for you, what's the golden goose?
The best thing that can happen after I hit publish on a video is, for it to go wildly viral. I mean, and that's what you really hope for. And it's anywhere from a short to, a long format. And a long format, I would say more so than a short, just because that's where the revenue comes from. That's where you're making that happen. And so I want people to engage. I want people to comment. I want them to feel something about what's going on. A lot of the times, a lot of people in watching YouTube, especially if they don't know you, they want to pick you apart. And so if you do have a video go viral, they don't want to know why. They don't care, really. They're just like, oh, it's here. What did she do wrong? And how can we break her down for it? And I would say with every video that I've had that has gone viral, that's the first thing they do. It's not how cool it was. It's not even about the topic. It's, oh, I thought it was going to be this, or this is wrong, or that is wrong. And it's all the wrong things. For me, it's still engagement with the video. Am
So
I?
it doesn't get to you?
Well, that's sort of a thing I would say in the moment when I'm reading it, it's like, really, that's what you saw? Like, that's how small-minded you are right now? And that's the only place that my mind really goes, is how, I guess, obvious they were to pick such a stupid thing to complain about. Sure, does it bring me to an area where I can edit better? You betcha. I can try to find those small mistakes and try to make things a lot better so that the next time one does well, those mistakes aren't there. And that's kind of more about more or less what it does. If people really harshly comment rudely about my character, or they don't like me, or they don't like something like that, that gets to me. But at the same time, if you don't like me, go to someone else. You don't need to comment about it.
Right.
Like, if you don't like me and you want to go see other rocks, please, by all means, that's why YouTube's out there. There's a lot for you to go see. And it's a harsh world. Again, you have to have tough skin. But any content that is watched and that is engaged with is good content. What really sucks is that gets nerve-wracking when you do hit publish and something pops up and it just sits there and nothing happens. And it's not, you can't scream to the world, oh my gosh, I have put hours of energy into this. Not to mention, like, you know, people think, oh, you go make content, that's the easiest thing in the world. It's like, okay, so gas must be free, my food's free, my time's free, my editing's free, you know, the power that it took to make all of this is free. It's like, where do you think that comes from? It definitely doesn't grow on trees. But people want to make the assumption that your life is so easy and you don't do anything but hit publish. It's like, I have bills too. I have an overhead. So the worst thing that can happen on a video is for it to just sit there, and that's why I get nervous. It scares me to death that my hard work will go unseen, because everyone on YouTube, I believe, has a voice, and we all have something really cool to talk about. And it's those people that want to sit there long enough to listen, to get to know us, to hear it.
How many geologists are female versus male? Is it like 1 in 20? Like, have you even met another female geologist?
Oh, yeah. My best friend is a geologist. She's a volcanologist, actually. And not like Star Trek sort of thing. It's that she studies volcanoes. There are quite a few. Like, in my class, UNR, there were, I don't know, probably 30 women geologists, like over a span of, you know, the years of people going in and out, and in varying degrees inside of geology. But like, when you're in the field and you meet another one, that's the rare part. Because a lot of people get the degree, think it's cool, not know what to do with it, not want to work for a mine or go logging oil for an oil company. They're like, peace out, I'm done. And then you just have this, this slimmer and slimmer and slimmer batch to pick from. And so when you go into like a room, you're like a geologist in front of a bunch of men geologists. Having a big personality like mine and then going into a field where it is highly dominated by men does not work well. You are immediately have like a target on your back, as we don't need you around. And then all of these people that are surrounding you are expecting like a certain image. They're expecting you to play a role in a man's world. And you're not a geologist going into it. You might have the degree, but you're looked at as like this thing that could be squashed or that could be shoved under the rug. And so when you have that big personality and you have an opinion about the things that you're looking at and the things that you want to do, they don't want to hear it. And why would I know? You know, and so having that tenacity and the drive and the determination in order to go and push through to do things, oh my gosh, it was exhausting. It is, and that exhaustion from being in that situation is the reason I became a YouTuber, really.
Just to remove yourself from those scenarios that are like dominated by men and do your own thing? Did I interpret that correctly?
Yeah, kind of. It was, I have a voice about geology. I want to speak about it, and I don't want to be stifled telling people what I know. And I didn't want to be put in a box forever by a bunch of people that wanted to control my narrative about the things that I knew about. And then on top of that, you have, I would say, just this hierarchy of people, in especially big companies. This is how it's done, this is how it's always done, and this is what we're going to do no matter what. And so there's a certain amount of bullying and harassment that goes on behind closed doors that's never brought to light. And when you do bring it to light, the target becomes way bigger.
At what point did you make the leap from just being a geologist to starting to post on YouTube and become a YouTuber?
So, as many people that don't like to hear this, the ones that do, good for you. But COVID actually saved my life. During that time, I was in my, big mining job, and I was a, lead geologist for all kinds of stuff, a lot of responsibility, a lot of roles. I had just come out of a pretty hefty, like, I wouldn't say case, but my boss was harassing me horribly. Wow. And the HR company or the HR department of the company said, "Oh, sorry, that wasn't harassment. He was just being a little inappropriate." And I'm like, what? It was such a long thing. So I was really down. It was really difficult to go into work and to see that he meant more than I did in the company, that my voice was gone. It was taken away. And so they started sending like sections of his home to go work at home. And so I was doing a lot of work from home, and oh my gosh, I realized that I could get a 10-hour day done in the first 4 hours of the day. There were no meetings, there was no one coming to my office, there was no getting up to go to the bathroom, there was no coffee breaks, there was no trying to find the time to space out the day. I just got my work done, and I was like, okay, either I can start a new project, I don't want to do that, or I can start doing something else. And so I was just mildly entertained with looking at rocks, but I didn't actually like think real close into it that, oh, I'm going to go do this. And so I had a couple friends of mine that said, you would probably be really good on YouTube. And I said, well, yeah, Dan and I kind of play around on it. They're like, well, what do you want? Do you want you and Dan to do it, or do you want to do it and like make something of this? And I was like, I want to do something and make something. And so Elley Knows Rocks was born sometime, in June of 20, I think it was, 2020. And I got every social media account with Elley Knows Rocks on it. And I didn't actually like start doing YouTube like aggressively until I think the start of 2021. I just had the channel just to make sure that I had my name on it. And in it was May of 21 is when, or 2021, excuse me, I was told that they wanted me for a show in Greenland. And so I was like, cool. They loved me. I did all the stuff. I was accepted. Months later, I was like, peace out to work, because they wouldn't give me a leave of absence. They would for the boys, but they wouldn't for me. So I was like, this is a great opportunity. See you later. Left for Greenland for 3 months. I came back, and I'd been posting to YouTube, but I laid everything into it and just started it like solid. And so I'd been working a foundation before I left for Greenland in order to hopefully get the subscribers, get the views, that kind of a thing. And so when I got to Greenland, I'd reached 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I had all the watch hours already that I needed by the time I hit 1,000 subscribers. And so I monetized while I was over in Greenland. My husband helped like send me the things that I needed to do, like over email and whatever. And I was in Greenland when I made my first check from YouTube. It was like $140 some. It was my very first check from YouTube. I was so excited, but I knew I was going to make it happen.
That's so incredible that you had a goal that a lot of people out there would love to do. They would love to have their passion and make a YouTube channel about that and create community. It's an incredible thing that you've accomplished, and you should be incredibly proud.
I am proud. It was scary. And I wanted it, And so, and I continue to, and I'm going to make it something bigger than it is even now. But I'm so grateful for everything that it has brought me.
If you had one message to give to the entire world, what would it be?
Oh, if I had one message to give to the entire world, it would be to don't ever let anybody tell you no or that you can't do it. Because if you want to, you have to be your own voice. You have to follow your dream to make it happen. You have to become your own cheerleader, and you brave that path. And it's hard, and you walk it alone for the majority of the time. But you pick up people along the way, and they become your cheerleaders. So.
Woo! Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. I appreciate it.
Me too. Let's get moving.